Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to another long playthrough of an Elder Scrolls game. This time, I'm going to be playing The Elder Scrolls II, Daggerfall. This is going to differ from my Arena playthrough in that I'm not streaming it. It is also going to be a blind playthrough, but it's going to be less blind because I have played Daggerfall before. Now, I am currently running the, Daggerfall is available from the Bethesda Softworks site, and it's available for free for those who are interested. I will put a link in the description. However, I am using the DaggerfallSetup, which includes not only the Daggerfall game itself, packaged for a modern operating system, but also a number of bug fixes. I'll put a link to that as well. Now, we are going to be creating a character in this episode. So, episode's primarily just going to be character creation. If you want to see actual gameplay, you'll probably be looking to the next episode. Daggerfall does allow a lot of character customization. The Elder Scrolls Arena had the standard race class setup of pretty typical role-playing games of that era. Daggerfall was released shortly thereafter, and it includes a character creation process that includes class customization, and we will be using that. Now, the general trick was to take an elf and then stack, use various exploits to stack immunity from paralysis, and I don't think I'm going to be doing that. So let's discuss the races. This was before the orcs became a playable race. At some point they are granted an area in the Hrothgar Mountains, which are right around here, for their own, but that's in a subsequent era. This time you have your Bretons up in High Rock. They are the generic magic-resistant, pretty decent spellcasters. You have your Nords from Skyrim, cold-resistant and pretty damn good warriors. You have your Dark Elves from Morrowind, which are pretty decent spell swords, all in all. You have your Red Guards from Hammerfell, which are solid warriors. A little bit more on the skill side than the strength side versus Nords. You do not have Imperials yet. There are no characters from the Imperial province. You got your High Elves from Somerset Isle. They are great casters. They are immune to paralyzing poisons and spells, but they are somewhat vulnerable to certain other things. You got your Wood Elves from Valenwood. They're your archers, agile and quick, decent with bows. You have your Khajiits from elsewhere. The cat people, which are less cat people. They're less cat than people in this particular one, similar to Arena, where they had. They're a little bit more cat-like than they were in Arena, but not by much. They make decent thieves. Then you have last but not least, although in my opinion they are least, the Argonians, which are your lizard men. They have decent swimming, which is the only good part about them right now. They have decent. They're like thieves / warriors / generics. They're not terribly great at anything. So we will go. Excuse me. It's one of them nights. We will go with some sort of mage, because we played through the original Elder Scrolls Arena as a pure mage. But I'm thinking I may go more along the lines of a mage / thief this time. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. Let's go with a Breton again. We'll go with a male. Now you can choose from a list of possible classes to play, or you can generate your class by answering 10 questions. Let's choose a class, because then we can also select, aside from the classes that you saw in Arena, you can also select a custom class. And unless you want to really challenge yourself in this game, you're always going to want to select that custom class. Because while not quite, if you played Morrowind, you played Oblivion and so on, the stock classes are pretty poorly balanced compared to what you can do yourself. Now, that having been said, they're not quite as broken as they are in Morrowind and Oblivion. You can get by with these. They generally have low hit points and kind of odd skills. But we're going to go with a custom. Alright, now you have a class name which you can fill in. You've got your ability scores. As you can see, there's quite a few of them. They do largely what they do in later ones. Strength affects your carrying capacity, your melee damage, and your melee to hit. Intelligence affects your skill or your spell points. Willpower affects your mana regeneration as well as your resistances. Agility affects your ability to, I believe, dodge things as well as your accuracy. Endurance affects hit points and stamina. Personality affects how people view you and your ability to get deals at shops. Speed, of course, affects your speed. I think it also affects your ability to dodge a little bit. And then luck affects pretty much everything. You have the ability to set the maximum hit points per level. Each level you will get a number between 1 and whatever this is. You're able to edit your special advantages and disadvantages as well as your reputations. Everything that you put in terms of points will adjust this slider here. This slider determines how fast you level up. The faster, the better, generally. So, with that having been said, we're going to go for some sort of mage type. So we can reduce our strength. Now, keep in mind, these are just your starting stats. You will get a randomly generated amount of abilities when it comes time to actually make the character. And it may not necessarily be adjusted reflected here. We'll reduce our speed, our strength, and our personality. And we will put all of that into intelligence. And willpower. Because we're going to be going with pretty much a pure mage. Max hit points per level. Because Daggerfall is so rough, we'll go ahead and max that out at 30. Special advantages. We will do increased magery because we are doing a full-on caster. We'll go 3 times intelligence and spell points. In addition, we will have some sort of spell absorption. Now, spell absorption is incredibly useful, but 90% of the time when you're going to be in a fight, it's going to be in darkness. So you can go ahead and do spell absorption in darkness and save yourself some difficulty points. Now you can tell it's in the red. We'll go ahead and edit our disadvantages. We will give a forbidden, well, you can give forbidden armor types, forbidden materials, forbidden shields, forbidden weaponry. You can do darkness powered magery, which is sometimes useful. That can reduce your ability to cast spells in the light, and vice versa in light powered magery. Inability to regenerate spell points is what sorcerers have. If you remember in Arena, sorcerers generally can absorb spells, but they can't actually regenerate spell points by themselves. You can take damage in certain places, and you can give yourself a phobia, which reduces your effectiveness against something. You can give yourself low tolerance to certain things, certain types of spells, and so on and so forth. Let's give ourselves damage in holy places. That didn't budge didn't budge that much. That's maybe not as useful as I thought. So go ahead and give us a forbidden armor type. Now, if you give yourself a forbidden armor type, don't select plate, because similarly to arena, chain and leather is just one group, but then plate is everything else. All of your elven, all of your daedric armor, etc., etc., are all considered plate. So if you cut yourself off from plate, you cut yourself off from almost all the armor in the game. You can safely cut yourself off from chain, but it doesn't give you much. So we're going to have to basically take some pretty hefty things to offset what I've given myself so far. We're going to do darkness power magery. We're going to give us lower magic in daylight. We are going to give us an inability to... no, we're not. We're going to give us... we're going to give us a forbidden material. Now this can come back and bite you. But if you give yourself a forbidden material, it moves that a pretty high forbidden material, like say adamantium. It jumps that quite a bit. Well, not a huge amount, but quite a bit. Give ourselves a critical weakness to something, and this is where if you're an elf, you can take yourself a critical weakness to paralysis, and your natural innate ability to resist paralysis will replace it. As you can see, that bumps the slider quite a bit, but right now we're going to have to give ourselves a nice mix of things to bring that slider back down. So let's give us a forbidden weaponry axe. No. See, you've got a limited number of disadvantages. So every one of those things, if you're way up here, you have to have a fair amount of reduction to bring it down to the 0.3. So that's why I'm kind of going, through this pretty slowly. We'll take damage from holy places. We're going to make ourselves some sort of necromancer. Except necromancy doesn't really work in this game, so it's just going to be a thematic thing. Give ourselves critical weakness to... well, if for a Breton, we resist magic quite a bit. But we'll give ourselves a critical weakness to disease. That bumps us way down, as you can see. Whoops. That may not be a great thing. I'm probably going to die from that, but we'll see. Because a lot of animals disease you when they hit you. We'll give ourselves a forbidden armor type of chain, because we are probably not going to wear chain ever. Give ourselves a forbidden material of orcish. That's a pretty solid material. Oh, it didn't move much. Okay. Forbidden weaponry. Take missile weapons. No. See, I'm trying to bump that all the way down. Forbidden weaponry, axe. Did that bump it quite a bit? No, it's just barely moving the bar. Forbidden material. Go ahead and give us forbidden material orcish, and we will give us forbidden shield types. Buckler, I guess. It doesn't move the bar much. Give us another critical weakness. That's probably not a great idea. In fact, it's probably going to be pretty solid, but we'll give it to poison. We're just trying to get this bar all the way down here. We'll give ourselves, if we do damage to sunlight, it's probably going to bump us all the way down, but it's going to make it hard as hell to travel anywhere. So we'll give, we'll try and make it the rest of the way down there. Give us a phobia to animals. That's actually a pretty solid jump there. We'll give us another phobia to animals. That drastically reduces our effectiveness against animals, but it's worth it. As you can see, I can no longer add special disadvantages. So what we're going to do is we're going to, well, yeah, those gave us actually pretty solid jumps there. Yeah, forbidden armor type, chain. But then we're going to give us another phobia to... the phobia is really kind of really hurt. How far does undead get us? Well, it gets us most of the way there. Yeah, I'm probably not going to get it all the way down into the 0.3, but I'm going to get close as I can. Let's see, forbidden armor type leather. That doesn't even matter. Forbidden weaponry blunt. It gives us a fair amount, but not as much as I would like. Yeah, a lot of this is going to be, yeah, I can't pick that twice. A lot of this is going to be trying to balance that out down there. The difficulty slider. Give another forbidden material. We'll pick iron this time. No, it didn't give us jack shit. All right. Alright, well, forgive me. I'm just trying to maximize my ability here. Yeah, that's not going to work. Well, we can always take... inability to regenerate spell points puts us all the way in the red here. And we already have, you know, absorption, so that actually may be useful. But it's not that useful. Alright, well, we'll figure this out. We'll take another critical weakness to... we'll put magic in there. And that will actually let me take some of this off, I believe. Or, better yet, we can edit our special advantages, and we can give ourselves some regeneration. We can give us rapid healing in darkness, and then regenerate health in darkness. Whoa, that gives us quite a bit. Rapid healing in darkness works, and then maybe... I don't know. I've got spell absorption. Will give us expertise in Longblade. That puts us right at the 0.3 mark. It lets us use a sword, and you know, we're where we need to be. Now here's our skills. Primary skills and major skills really affect your leveling up. So if you put your, you know, your 6 skills in there, whenever you gain a certain number of these skills, you're going to level up. Minor skills, I believe, basically just start higher, but they have very little effect on your leveling up. So let's try to get start with Longblade, because we will have one weapon that we are going to use, and it's going to be a Longblade. We'll go ahead, since we're going to be a mage, we're going to go with the magic skills. So we're going to go with Destruction. We are going to go with Restoration. We will go with, I want to say Alteration, but I've already got it down there. I'm probably going to move that. Thaumaturgy, maybe? For minor skills, we're going to add... Mercantile is always good in terms of getting what you need, but I don't think I'm going to need it that much. However, Swimming is also good. And that'll let us bump Alteration up here into our major skills. And we can either check Illusion or Mysticism. Mysticism is things like trapping souls, that sort of thing. You'll note there's no conjuration. For those of you who are used to Skyrim, there is no conjuration. It's folded into some of these other things. And I don't think you can actually summon things in this game in terms of creatures. Now, at the bottom, we will go with critical strike, dodging. We will go with lockpicking, because you need some skill in that. We will go with stealth, because otherwise you have to have some points in stealth, or else your stealth never builds, because there's no stealth mode. It's just automatically used all the time. And if you start with 0 stealth, then you're never going to improve it. And you'll see all these things like Centaurian and Daedric. Those are languages. Now, as you encounter creatures, there's a chance that they don't go hostile if you know their language. But the thing about it is that if you don't put it as one of your main skills, you're probably never going to have it go off. But if you do put it on as one of your main skills, it's basically a wasted skill, because you have to encounter things in order to use it. So if you put Orcish in, you're only ever going to raise it when you're around orcs. And there's enough creatures in this game that can basically give you a little bit of trouble there. So in terms of the rest of this, we have nothing. Etiquette is for talking with nobles. Streetwise is for talking with the common folk. Jumping is for jumping, of course. I want to basically either do illusion or backstab. The issue with backstab is it is hard as hell to sneak up on things in this game, even when you're maxed. So it's probably not worth it. I do kind of want to do a thief playthrough of this someday, but it's not going to be today. And then we'll just call this Archmage, because he's mostly a mage. They can leave reputations. I think this is good to go. We've got most of, if not all of our magic skills, and then some solid combat and utility skills to go by. If we hit exit, we will go to this part. Would you like to fast start by automatically generating your character's background, or choose your character's career path by answering 12 important career decisions? Now, these questions give you certain bonuses to certain skills, as well as certain items, and they basically chart your growth. So let's choose the career path by answering the questions. Now, if you want to min-max this, you can go online and find a very good guide in terms of what each decision gives you. But in most cases, it's pretty straightforward. As it says, after the College of Destruction, what school of magic have you been studying the second longest? It's going to give you a bonus in that. So we can assume that destruction is considered the top. We'll go ahead and go with now, if you go with one of your main skills, that's going to reduce your overall level cap, because you're going to have less skill. Because you level up when you get skill points, the faster your skill points hit the maximum, the less they're going to contribute to leveling, and then thus the less, in terms of overall levels you can get. But that shouldn't be an issue, really. We'll go ahead and pick illusion, though, just because it's not in my top 6. What motivates you into a life of adventure? Riches, fame, knowledge, fun, or helping others? We'll go with knowledge, because that sounds like a mage thing to do. In between formal study, you spent your time, and again, this is basically going to be a skill bonus. Etiquette, streetwise, jumping, mercantile, swimming, or sparring. Once again, down in the bottom, swimming is not in the top bunch, but swimming is also critical because water is freaking deadly in this game. So we'll go with swimming. Since childhood you have saved 100 gold pieces, a favorite book, a cuirass, I have no idea how to pronounce that, or a katana. Now, a katana is a long blade, but I think you end up with like an iron katana or something, so I'm not sure about that. 100 gold pieces is pretty solid, just gives you 100 gold in your inventory. A favorite book, however, has the potential to be really, really good, because some of these books sell for 400 or 500 gold a piece. However, and I don't really need a weapon because I'm going to get a weapon right off the bat. So let's go with a favorite book. We'll go with the full mage thing. In gratitude for services rendered, the Emperor gave you 200 gold pieces, a book, a silver staff, an amulet, a ruby, or an ebony dagger. Now, straightforward, the ebony dagger is usually your best bet because it's a short blade, but it's an ebony, which is like the second from the top. Unfortunately, since it's just a dagger, it breaks real quick, so you need to constantly be repairing it, and that's not a good thing. So, we will go with another book. Now, there's a lot of books that are basically lore in this game, and they're interesting to have, but we will go with a book mostly because, you know, we're playing a mage. As you grew older, you received additional magical training in, and we will select Illusion again. You spend any free time you have training with... Now, the long blade would be the natural choice in order to boost your long blade skill, but that would not contribute to your level up. So we will go with something that we don't have, short-bladed weapons. You are friendlier than most with, and this is just basically a language boost. We will go with the Infernal Daedra. Of all disagreeable types, you have the most personal hatred for, and we will select stupid peasants. Actually, that would be pretty bad because you do a lot of conversations with peasants. So we'll go with Sanctimonious Priest because we are taking damage from holy things after all. You are intimate friends with a mage. What god, if any, do you worship? Arcade, birth and death. Zenithar, god of commerce. Mara, the mother goddess. These are where the 9 first came in, except they're 8 in this game because it doesn't. You'll note it does not have Talos. But there's your basic, you know, the 8 divines, and I believe this is the first game where they were actually set out as such. I think if you've seen my arena playthrough, you'll note I comment a few times on how the gods don't quite line up. They didn't have them set up by then. So because I'm a mage, I'm going to go ahead and select Akatosh, god of time. I don't know what effect that has, but it's there. Now, there are other gods in Daggerfall. There's like little temples here and there of them, and but it's not as quite as widespread as it is in Arena. You have the most trouble, and this is where you can really push things out, above and beyond. We're going to go ahead with resisting magic. Because we're probably screwed on magic anyway. Except we absorb magic, so it may not be that bad deal. I will find out whether I've just made a grievous error dropping my magic resistance so low while still having spell absorption. But I'm probably not going to find out until 4 or 5 episodes in, because you generally don't encounter a lot of spellcasting creatures before then. Name thyself. So we'll select a decent name, and that name shall be RPG Crawler. Alright, now choose thy face. We will select something reminiscent of the one we had last time. It's a little too glam for me. This guy looks okay, fairly sinister. Now, as you can see, we can re-roll to our heart's content, and this gives us our general layout. So we've got a decent int, a decent will, but we've got shit for the expendable points. So as you can see, you can re-roll a few times, more than a few times. So let's go ahead and re-roll until we get these two both above 70, and then at least 12 points up in there. Okay, there we go. Very solid. We'll dump all of them into intelligence, because that will just give us mad spell points. Alright. And we should be good to go. We have to add bonus points. Now, as you can see, We've got solid destruction up here, solid long blade. Not so much on the restoration. Let's boost our restoration up a little bit. And then we will boost long blade up to 33. Kind of keep these even. Kind of even these up, and then 1, 2, 3. This is going to be a little bit different because this one is the one where we have some critical shit. We have swimming, we have stealth, and we have lockpicking. Since stealth is passive and requires you to do something every single time, we'll go ahead and drop all of those into stealth, and we'll bring it up almost to the level of one of our major skills. In fact, over our major skills. And we'll hope to get some use out of it. Now, this is where reflexes happen. As some of you may know from watching my other playthroughs, my reflexes aren't great. However, very high will get the job done in DOSBox, and this will reduce the amount of time it will take me to level up. So with 0.3 difficulty and with reflexes set at very high, we should be leveling up very swiftly. This gives you the chance to review everything and change anything, and then we should be good to go. And now, the intro. I have no idea why the audio is breaking up like that. Let's hope that it clears up. Okay, that is very annoying. Okay, that's not. There we go. Sorry, a little bug in DOSBox there. Okay, so the provinces are breaking up, and Uriel the Seventh, whom you rescued in Arena, is now trying to bring everything together. And thus we enter the cutscene with the very laughable actors. But hey, they did their best with what they had. So this is Uriel Septim the Seventh, who is later in Oblivion played by Patrick Stewart. And this guy is no Patrick Stewart. I think I've mentioned that in previous playthroughs of Daggerfall.
Over a year ago, King Lysander, Daggerfall, died.
So he's basically telling you about your mission. And your mission is basically to go find out what happened to King Lysander, or Lysandus. And by the way, while you're there, to pick up a letter for him. And as you can tell, over the course of the game, those two objectives may or may not intersect. So, you know, don't want to be spoilers ahead, but hey, you're watching this. You're watching a playthrough of a game from the 90s, so spoiler alerts aren't really. I think they're past their time. But yeah. See, and that's what kind of pisses me off, because he's playing you for the patsy from the very beginning. But then again, I guess that's what emperors do.
Several years ago, I wrote a letter to the Queen.
Lesser requests.
It never arrived.
He wrote a letter, and you've got to go find it.
The letter was of a sentimental
man,
nature.
I'd hate to be this guy, just kind of holding a torch in the corner. Your sole job could have been done by a metal ring in the wall.
Now, my champion, rest well this night.
Right. For tomorrow you sail for the kingdom of Daggerfall. Alright, there is our cinematic. Our one cinematic until the very, very end. This game does not have a lot of cutscenes. You wake and look around the room. Some hours ago, you were in a boat en route to Daggerfall, when a storm of supernatural strength boiled over the Iliac Bay like a malefic creature. Your boat was destroyed, but you managed to swim through the churning water to a promontory rock. There, you found a cave and escaped the fury of the storm. You had only just lit a small fire when a mudslide sealed you within. Your fear of being buried alive calmed when you saw a corridor leading out of the cavern. Perhaps there is a way out of this cave after all. Once free of the cave, you can begin the Emperor's quest. And that is where it gives you the tutorial dungeon. I am not going to use the tutorial. And that is where we will break this episode. Join us next time for Privateer's Hold. This has been the RPG Crawler with Daggerfall. If you like what you've seen, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and keep an eye out for future videos. Until next time, take care and goodbye.